Now, monks are interesting. They do kind of like a card system. And so they have chakra cards. And with these chakra cards, what you do, you'll play the card as you are taking your turn. And so they have card for combat. They have a card for agility. They have a card for guidance. And then they have the meditation card, which is like the key to their gameplay. For their combat card, if it's your turn and you decide to play a combat card, the base combat card makes it so that way when you play this chakra, you gain one additional sword token for each active or discarded chakra. And so after your turn, you discard whatever cards you used. So you end up having a discard deck as well as an active deck for the cards that you actively played that round. And so let's say it's my turn and I play the agility card first for my first turn, my first action. And then for my second action, I play the combat card. That means that I have two cards that are active right now. And so because of that, with the combat card, I get two sword tokens because it's one for each active chakra. And so sword tokens look like that. And I can play those tokens at my discretion. I can save them and hold on to them, or if I want to use them while I'm attacking, I can use one of these tokens to get extra damage. On the other side of the sword tokens, they have shields. And so some cards will give you defense instead of attack. And they work the same way. You can save them and use them at your discretion. And shields will give you more defense. So let's say you're in combat and you're getting attacked by an enemy, but you don't want to take that hit. You can use this to help bolster your defense. Now, for the other cards, agility was one of the other ones. Agility is all about movement speed. And so if I play the agility card, my first move action of the round has +1 movement point for each active and discarded chakra. And so a movement point means that that's a space you can move on the board. And so movement would be like this: 1 space, 2 space, 3 space, 4 space, 5 space, for example. So each big tile is separated into 9 zones. So it's split up into 9 spaces that you can move around on. You just have to make sure that you're moving, like not teleporting through a wall unless you have a teleport ability, which comes in later because there's some wizards that are in this game, and wizards have the ability to teleport. The third chakra type that the monk has is called guidance, and that uses mana and helps you with mana resource regeneration and things like that. When you play the guidance card, you place 1 mana for each active and discarded chakra on this card. While this chakra is active, heroes can spend mana from this card as if it's their own. And so, if I was using this guidance card, and this was my second turn, so I had already discarded the combat and agility cards that I had drawn before. So I used these ones already, so I have to discard them now that my turn's over. And on my next turn, I use guidance. Now I have 2 cards that are discarded and 1 active card. And so that means I would get 3 mana, and I'd put 3 mana on this card. Let me show you. And so I would get 3 mana on this card, and anybody would be able to pull from that card that mana to use during their turn. So that way, let's say I have a wizard on my team who needs a little more juice for their spell, then they can use the mana from my guidance card because I am over here using my chakra to help everyone else, which is really cool. Now, meditation, that is the card that I said that really is the key for all the monks. With the meditation card, when you play this chakra, you heal 1 for each active and discarded chakra to yourself only. And then instead of discarding this card, this meditation card, you return this card and all other discarded chakras into your hand. That way you can reshuffle the cards that you have in your hand and use them again on your next turn. And so that's very strong. And it's necessary so that way you don't run out of chakra and then have no cards that you can use. Because otherwise you would quickly run out of cards and you wouldn't be able to really do anything on your turn besides normal attacks. There are 10 levels to your abilities in this game. And depending on your level and what level you get to, that determines how you can upgrade your character. And so if I'm playing the martial artist, if I decide to use that as my first ability, then I gain the chakra that's called Combat Prowess. And so that gives me an additional chakra card that I can use in my hand. And then with this martial artist ability, I can perform melee attack actions without holding an actual weapon. So it gives me the ability to do unarmed combat. And if both of my hands are empty, then I can gain +1 additional yellow dice, and I get +1 additional sword on all my rolls while I'm attacking. If I decided to go the other direction, the other card is called Flying Kick. And if I decided to choose that one instead, I would get the chakra called Agility Focus. And if I choose the Flying Kick spell, then after I perform a movement action, I can spend 1 mana to roll 1 orange dice, and I will deal wounds equal to these swords to the enemy. Alright, we're back. So, if I level up from level 1 to level 2, I can choose another level 1 spell if I wanted, so I could have both of these. Or I can choose a level 2 spell. And so, for example, here, these level 2 spells are Multidisciplinary or Keen Mind. And so for this level 2 spell, Multidisciplinary, what I would do is I would rotate this card to exhaust it, and then I would play 2 non-meditation chakra cards this round. And so that gives me ability to do extra things with my chakra. And for level 1 of multidisciplinary, they have to be 2 different types. And so I can't use 2 agility cards or 2 combat cards. I would have to use 1 agility and 1 combat, or 1 combat and 1 guidance, things like that. And then, when I use meditation to refresh my cards, I can also rotate this card back again, so I can refresh this card to use it again as well. For example, for Keen Mind, if I chose that one as my level 2 ability, then when I play any chakra, I can return 1 discarded chakra card of the same type, agility, combat, or guidance, back to my hand if I discard any other non-meditation chakra card. And so this gives me the ability to swap cards out for my chakra. Okay. And so, one other thing that the monk has is they have reroll tokens that they can use with some of their abilities, and that gives them and other characters the ability to re-roll their dice rolls, which can be helpful if you find yourself in a bind and an enemy rolled like a really heavy hit that you don't want to take that hit. And so if a monk has a reroll, that'll help you out a lot. Very beneficial.